This is the flexor or ventral aspect of the forearm. It consists of two groups of muscles, a superficial and a deep, with the median and ulnar nerves passing between the two groups. The superficial group consists of 5 muscles that have a common flexor origin from the front of the spine and radiate towards their insertion downwards. The most lateral muscle of this group is the pronator teres. It has a superficial head and a deep head between which the median nerve passes. The muscle is inserted into the middle of the radius at its maximum convexity. This is the flexor carpi radialis. It lies just medial to the pronator teres, and its tendon passes through the lateral end of the flexor retinaculum, where it lies in a groove on the front of the trapezium bone. The tendon is inserted into the front of the bases of the second and third metacarpal bones. In the lower part of the forearm, the muscle is medial to the radial artery and lateral to the tendon of the palmaris longus muscle. This is the palmaris longus muscle. It crosses superficial to the flexor retinaculum to get insertion into the apex of the palmar aponeurosis. This is the palmar aponeurosis. This is the flexor carpi ulnaris muscle. It runs on the medial aspect of the forearm and is inserted below into the pisiform bone and through a ligament to the base of the fifth metacarpal bone. The ulnar nerve leaves the arm by passing vertically deep to the muscle. The muscle is attached by an aponeurosis to the posterior border of the ulna. This is the flexor digitorum superficialis. It lies just deep to the flexor carpi radialis and palmaris longus muscles. Its 4 tendons pass deep to the flexor retinaculum to enter the hand, proceeding towards the medial 4 fingers. Each tendon runs together with the tendon of the flexor digitorum profundus within a tunnel formed by the bones of the finger and the fibrous flexor sheath. Each tendon is inserted after being splitted by the tendon of the flexor digitorum profundus into the margins of the middle phalanx. This is the median nerve running vertically on the deep surface of the flexor digitorum superficialis. It gives off the anterior interosseous nerve just as it leaves the pronator teres muscle. Now the superficial flexor muscles are divided and reflected to display the deep muscles, which are the flexor digitorum profundus, the flexor pollicis longus, and the pronator quadratus. The median nerve is seen accompanied by a slender artery called the median artery, which is a branch of the anterior interosseous artery. Just above the flexor retinaculum, the median nerve appears from under cover of the lateral border of the flexor digitorum superficialis, and here it lies in the interval between the flexor carpi radialis and the palmaris longus muscles. The nerve continues its course deep to the flexor retinaculum to enter the palm of the hand. At the distal border of the retinaculum, the nerve divides into medial and lateral divisions. Here it gives a muscular branch to the thinner muscles of the hand, namely the flexor pollicis brevis, the adductor pollicis brevis, and the opponens pollicis. In injury to the median nerve, these thinner muscles are paralyzed and become atrophic, and the thumb cannot be adducted, but only adducted by the adductor pollicis muscle, which is supplied by the ulnar nerve. This form of paralysis is called ape hand because the paralyzed hand simulates the hand of an ape. The medial and lateral divisions of the median nerve give off palmar digital branches which supply the lateral 3.5 fingers and the first and second lumbrical muscles. This is the anterior interosseous nerve. It runs in front of the interosseous membrane, accompanied by the anterior interosseous artery between the flexor pollicis longus laterally and the flexor digitorum profundus medially. At the upper border of the pronator quadratus muscle, the anterior interosseous nerve ends deep to the muscle and supplies it. It also supplies the flexor pollicis longus and the lateral half of the flexor digitorum profundus. The anterior interosseous artery perforates the interosseous membrane to appear on the back of the lower part of the forearm. Notice that the pronator teres lies edge to edge with the upper border of the flexor digitorum superficialis. Notice also that the flexor digitorum superficialis arises by a humero-ulnar head and a radial head. The radial head arises from the front of the radius, edge to edge with the supinator muscle. This radial head separates the supinator from the flexor pollicis longus. Well, this was the end of part 1 of the anatomy of the upper limb. I hope we'll see you again on part 2. Thank you and goodbye.